Hi, my name's Deb. I'm a physiotherapist at Move Better for Life and WorkHealth Australia. And this is the third of our 4-part series looking at workstation setup. The risks associated around why it's important to get it right, what happens when you have a poor workstation setup, and how you do get it right, and what you can do to help. This is our third session, and what we're going to be focusing on today is the standing workstation setup, the ideal workstation setup in standing. A key element of this is how friendly is it for your body. Often we know that a few minor changes and adjustments can really significantly ease the strain on your body and reduce the chance of aches and pains. We know that the issues are, as I've gone through in my previous talks, are sedentary behaviour, sitting for long periods of time without moving, that the muscles are in elongated positions for long periods of time, and that could cause pain and discomfort. You can get headaches, shoulder pain, lower back pain, shortened hamstrings, shortened calves, forward head posture, this sort of poked necked position, and we can become deconditioned just simply because we're not moving around very much. So I'm going to share with you now on my screen the ideal workstation setup in standing. And let's bring it up here. Great. So what we're looking at is the one on the right. Last week we looked at the one on the left in the seated position. So standing workstations have become very popular over the last few years. They're a good option these days because they actually encourage people to change their positions and move more. It's so easy to get trapped into just sitting and being in the one position for long periods of time. And if you're standing, then that's less likely to happen. So the problem with sitting is that if you are sitting for more than 60% of your waking hours, you significantly negatively impact your health. So despite having an ideal workstation set up in sitting, you really shouldn't be there for too long. Now, we've always promoted the best posture is the next posture, and a standing workstation just makes that to happen more readily. There are a number of different options for the standing desk. There's the automatic electric desk where you have your computer on the desk and you just press a button at the side of the desk and the whole desk rises up, everything on it. And that's fantastic. I have one of those at work. And then there's the other sort of desk you can have is what we call a vary desk, which I'm going to show you in a moment. In fact, let's go to it now. Here. And so this is a vary desk here. It sits on top of the normal desk, and then you just lift it up and it will raise the computer and everything on it, which is great. So we'll go back to the other one as we talk around what we what's the ideal setup. So what are the secrets of the sit to stand desk? Some of the features regarding the screen, the mouse, the keyboard are the same as the sitting desk, but of course there are some differences to the sitting workstation, and we'll discuss, but we'll go through them all. Firstly, the desk height. Clearly, with a standing desk, you can adjust the height so that you can either sit or stand. You can alter it, which is fantastic. It just means that if you get sick of sitting and your back's starting to get sore, you can go into standing for a while. And as long as it's not too difficult to get that desk up, then it shouldn't be a problem. You want to alter the sit to stand desk height so that the keyboard is about 2 centimeters below your elbow height. And I'll go back to that other diagram here. So see, he's got a slightly slope into the from the elbow to the hand. That's ideal. having it horizontal is fine, but you certainly don't want it so that the desk is so high that it's actually your wrists are higher than your elbows. You want the desk deep enough so that you can have your workstation, you can have your screen around arm's length away. So when you put your arm out, you can just touch the screen, and that helps prevent what we call a forward head posture, but also, again, having the screen too low, close. So that's about the ideal distance a screen should be away from you. You would like the top of the screen at eye level. So in going back to this here, these screens can adjust height. That's about the right height for this man. And also in our diagram here, we want her eyes are about level with the top of the screen there. So just going back to the screen, we want the top of the screen at eye level. The angle of the screen, ideally having it straight down like that isn't the best. It's better to have a slight tilt so that the top of the screen is slightly tilted back, just a little bit. So it's slightly further away, and that's just easier on your eyesight. And screen alignment. Ideally, if you've got one screen, you want it centered, but you would be surprised how many people have it off to one side. And they're always constantly like this. They don't even realize, they get used to it, and that's how they are. And then they start getting tight muscles down one side, elongated muscles on the other, and neck pain. If you've got two screens, depending on how often you use each screen, if you're using one screen most of the time, then ideally that would be the one that is more central. If you use them, each of the screens, the same amount of time, then you want them equidistant apart and central. Hand posture, the type and mouse, sorry, you want the mouse and your hand at about level with the elbows straight or just slightly angled down, but certainly not angled up. You want the location of the keyboard and the mouse close to your body. You don't want it too far away, and ideally so that your elbows are in close towards your body. If it's too far away, you find that you're reaching forward and you can start getting pain at the back of the shoulder, some impingement pain, and that and it also puts more pressure on these muscles here that do the typing, and which is not ideal and can lead to pain, of course. Alignment of the keyboard, you want the H key in midline with your body, which means then you've got all the keys at equidistant apart. What people will do is they'll line the keyboard up so that they think it's central, when in fact it means all the letters are slightly off to the left, which is not ideal. So just make sure H is in the midline of your body. Right, and as I said before, you want the mouse close to your body. Standing, how long do you spend in standing? Ideally, they've done studies and it's been looked at that if you have a standing desk, you'd want to be in standing for about 50% of the time that you're at the computer. What we do find is, and like we do this when we're in sitting, that when we're in standing, to try and reduce fatigue on the legs and the feet, that you have what we call postural micro breaks. So you're not standing in one position all the time. You might find that you start off with your weight distributed evenly between both legs, and then you might spend some time on one leg and some time on another. Often some of these standing workstations will have a bar underneath, or you can actually get a box that you can, or a small step that you can put your foot up on, just to change your position up a bit. And ideally, you'd only want to be in one position for about 8 minutes. And after 8 minutes, you start to get some fatigue just from being in that one position for a while. Then you change it up and you start putting weight more on one leg, then you go to the other leg, and then back to both legs. either way, just changing it up, and you'll probably do that naturally without even thinking about it. But it's what we call postural micro breaks. And you do the same when you're in sitting. You sort of lean more on one side and then the other. You bring your bottom forward, you bring it right back, and you just change it up. But what we do know is the best posture is the next posture. And what that means is that you are always moving. And whether you're using a standing desk or a sitting desk, it's really good for every 30 minutes that you're at your workstation to spend at least 2 minutes walking around, moving your shoulders, rolling them back, taking a break, walking around, getting the blood through the legs. You could do a few air squats, whatever it is you need to do to move, and then you can get back into it. And you'll find that your concentration improves because of that. So that wraps up this session. Just before we go, I wanted to tell you that we have a weekly blog that I put out. It's shared on Facebook and on our website. You can go to those. It'll give you information about various things, issues that people present to the physio with, whether it's neck pain, back pain, whatever it is. You will probably find it up on our website. It's in our blogs. I post every week. It would be great if you could share our Facebook and share anything that you like. And thanks for listening. I've got one more session talking around exercises and what you can do to help yourself if you do find yourself in pain and discomfort. And again, thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next time.